President Trump signed another executive order this week. He's going to get like carpal tunnel signing all of these things. That's a total of 109 in a little over 2 months. And for this one, he brought a special guest to the White House.
We came up with a very serious EO, and I'm going to sign it now.
No, that is not a third flag hanging in the Oval Office there. That is Kid Rock. How about that outfit? He's there because well, for one, he's friends with President Trump, and because he's a big supporter of this latest executive order. It takes aim at those often sky-high prices for tickets to live events like concerts. And as Kid Rock explains, it's a big problem.
Anyone who's bought a concert ticket in the last decade, maybe 20 years, no matter what your politics are, knows that it's a conundrum. You buy a ticket for $100, by the time you check out, it's $170. You don't know what you can charge for, but more importantly, these bots. You know, they come in to get all the good tickets to your favorite shows you want to go to, and then they're relisted immediately for sometimes a 400% or 500% markup. And the artists don't see any of that money.
So he's talking about a few things there. One of the things he's talking about are those junk fees that you see at checkout and the bots that swoop in, taking up all the good seats and then reselling them for a huge markup. This was a huge story with Taylor Swift in 2022, you may remember. At one point, Ticketmaster had to cancel the public sale of tickets for her tour, and the resale market was absolutely crazy. Some fans were paying more than 70 times the face value, thousands and thousands of dollars. Swift called the entire thing excruciating. Now, Taylor Swift and Kid Rock probably don't see eye to eye on a lot of politics, but they do appear to agree on this. Come to think of it, Trump appears to agree with Biden and Obama on this issue as well. Trump's new executive order calls for enforcement of an Obama-era law that targeted these bots. The order also criticizes junk fees, something that Biden talked about in his 2023 State of the Union address.
My administration is also taking on junk fees, those hidden surcharges too many companies use to make you pay more. We can stop service fees on tickets to concerts and sporting events and make companies disclose all the fees up front.
So look, when Trump and Biden, Republicans and Democrats all appear to agree on something, well, we got to talk about it, right? It's important stuff. So let's unpack this new executive order. Order up! It's called Combating Unfair Practices in the Live Entertainment Market. It directs the FTC to appropriate action to ensure price transparency at all stages of the ticket purchase process and rigorously enforce the Better Online Ticket Sales Act, also known as the Bots Act. But let's back up just a little bit. What are these bots exactly? How are they jacking up the price of a ticket when you go to see, say, Teddy Swims, who's going to be performing at Red Hat? So here's generally how it works. A computer program creates a bunch of accounts on a website that sells these tickets. And when the tickets go on sale, that program cycles through its dummy accounts, quickly selecting dozens, sometimes hundreds of tickets, and then blitzing through the checkout. Oftentimes, they use stolen credit card info to complete the sale. Then they turn around and resell the tickets at that inflated price. And they do this all in the fraction of a time that it would take you or me or an actual person to go on and buy a ticket. This has been a problem for a while. It's why President Obama signed the Bots Act in 2016 to punish anyone caught using them. But if there's a law on the books and President Obama signed it, then why are the bots still a problem? Well, it turns out this law has only been enforced one single time. In 2021, the DOJ and the FTC went after 3 ticket brokers that were using bots. They demanded those brokers pay damages totaling over $30 million, which seems like a big hit. Got them. But then they reached a settlement, and those bad actors paid less than $4 million. The law was never enforced again, so the bots are still a thing. Ticketmaster says that they try to stop them. Their website says we manage the flow of traffic into the shopping experience while simultaneously detecting bots and reducing their access. This gives you a more fair chance. But you probably noticed some of the soft language that they use there. They say they reduce access to bots, not block them completely. They say you have a more fair chance, not a totally fair one. Clearly, Ticketmaster doesn't have a great handle on this either. And it's why they support President Trump's effort to enforce President Obama's rule. Their parent company, Live Nation, put out a statement saying, "We support any meaningful resale reforms." Live Nation also supports some reforms on those junk fees. See, back in December, the FTC issued a new rule on this. It bans ticket sellers from hiding the total price by omitting those mandatory fees and charges from the advertised price. It was like Kid Rock was saying, you think the ticket's $100 and at checkout it ends up being $180. What's that money? And Live Nation put out a statement saying they applaud the FTC's industry-wide mandate. But the vote was not unanimous. Andrew Ferguson was the only FTC commissioner who voted no, and that was significant. A month later, Trump named him the new head of the FTC. So what does this mean? Well, Ferguson explained. He said he supports the rule against junk fees. He just didn't like it when the FTC created it a month before a new president was set to take office. So he does now. But what's next? The FTC junk fee rule will take effect on May 12th. As for the bots, Trump called on the Secretary of the Treasury, the Attorney General, and the FTC to detail how they're enforcing the rules, and he wants a report submitted by the fall. I know this sounds like one of the in-depth segments. It kind of started turning into one of those today, but this is really just scratching the surface of all this. If you want us to keep talking about it, if you're interested, I'm trying to buy those Teddy Swims tickets, and I mean, they're all over the board. Send me an email, dan@WRAL.com. There's so much more to talk about that we didn't get to touch on tonight. Tell me what is on your mind, and we will go in depth.